sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and can even keep you from getting the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS. I want to share with you something that I have struggled with my entire life. And it's something I work on every day. I think I'm getting better at it, but maybe it's something that affects you too. This has nothing to do with my mental health, which goes up and down in a pretty good place right now, but it's something that affects my sales and affects me as a business owner. And that is a need for approval. When I was growing up, my mom, maybe like your mom, taught me that I need to have friends, and friends were good, and more friends were better than fewer friends. And, you know, good advice when you're young, right? And in college, I was president of my fraternity, knew a lot of people, good connections, right? And you get a lot of positive feedback from having lots of friends. And when you get out into the business world, you're out there networking, you're meeting people and trying to figure out where you fit in the world and where they fit in the world and how can you help these people and how can they help you? And it's a wide swath. And having people, in my mind, more friends was better. And then at some point, though, you begin to realize that I don't have time to keep up with all these people. Friendships take effort. They take energy. They take all these things. And now that I had a job and all these other things and, other life, it was hard to keep up with it. But I began to rechannel instead of having a large group of friends, and that this was not intentional, but I realized it was happening. When I would go on a sales call, I wanted my prospect to like me. Very important to me that my prospect liked me, right? Which seems, normal. You don't want to be an asshole. I never advise that, by the way. I never advise being an asshole in a sales call. Maybe it's fun some other time. But I was the opposite of that. I was a yes man, right? I was whatever you want. Yes, yes, yes. And quite frankly, a lot of times that not only didn't serve me, but it also doesn't serve the prospect. And so having a high need for approval means you don't ever want to walk away from an opportunity. It also means that prospecting is super freaking hard, right? Super hard. Why would prospecting be hard if you have a high need for approval? Because if you're doing it worth a damn, you're going to hear no a lot. And if you have a high need for approval, you take that personally. Why don't these people want to talk with me? Or if I call this person and they answer the phone, they say no, that means that I'll never have a shot again, right? Which is complete bullshit, right? But if you have a high need for approval, prospecting for people you don't know yet is hard. It also makes it even harder to call on people that you do know because you're afraid you might ruin the friendship. Which again, there is some logic there if you do have a relationship. There are ways around that, which I train my clients on all the time. Here are some other impacts. Tell me if you're having these troubles. If you're having these troubles, you may have a high need for approval. And after this, I'm going to talk about what you can do to work on that. You don't like the prospect because you don't like hearing no. Number two, you don't push back on your client. You don't challenge them. You don't ask them why they feel a certain way or ask them to explain deeper what they mean when they say something. It also means you're not saying, come on, is that really a big deal? You're not challenging them. You're not saying, hey, I think you're doing that wrong because you're afraid you're upset them. You don't want to ask hard questions like, is that a big deal? And how much is that costing you? And what happens if you don't fix it? Because if you ask those kind of questions, which are absolutely necessary if you're going to really help somebody who's got a problem, you got to dig in and find out what are their opinions about their current situation, which means you got to ask some hard questions, which may make them uncomfortable. You got to realize, though, you're not the one that's making them uncomfortable. It's their situation that they're having to think about. that they already have that is uncomfortable. If you have a high need for approval, you're not very good at disqualifying because you don't want to tell anybody no, because gosh, they could be your friend and you might hurt their feelings. You don't want to hear no. Your sales cycles are longer than you keep chasing people over and over and over again. You keep thinking maybe I've got a chance. You're also afraid you make friends with people and you'll never ask them to do business with you. You just hope that they'll fall off the truck and come say, please help me, right? It also means you talk too damn much, right? You talk too much. Blah, 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 blah. What that means is you're not having real conversations with people. The essence of sales, in my mind, the essence of transparency, the essence of being human is having real conversations with people where you're asking a lot of questions, you're getting feedback from your prospect, you're getting opinions from your prospect, and then you're helping them think through those opinions. And sometimes those opinions will go opposite, right? It'll help them realize I talked to a guy this morning, and when I dug deep into his situation, we both realized he wasn't ready for me yet. Doesn't mean I'm losing a friend. Wasn't my friend to start with. So these are some of the things, right? If you have a high need for approval, here's what I've learned to do, right? I've learned to separate myself from my sales self, right? And there's a lot of stuff here. It's more than I want to go into right now. But I picture when I go into a sales call, while it is the essence of me, right? I want to be my absolute true self as best I can be. It's myself that doesn't care if this person likes me or not. I don't care if they buy from me or not. One of the sayings that some of y'all have heard me say over and over again is some will, some won't. So what? Who's the next one I need to be talking to? Some people will buy, some people won't. So what? Who's the next person I need to be talking to? I don't need more friends. My guess is you don't need more friends. If, as the old saying goes, if you need more friends, get a dog. If you already have a dog and need more friends, you're hopeless. Don't go into sales to make friends. Don't go on a sales call to make friends. Your prospect doesn't need more friends. What they need is somebody who can help them with a business problem. That's all that matters. The only thing you have to have in common with your prospect is that you're both committed to fix your prospect's business problems, right? If they're not committed to fix it, you can't help them. If you're not committed to fix it, you can't help them. That's the only thing you have to have in common. I don't give a shit if you went to college together or if you live in the same neighborhood or like the same things. Who gives a shit, right? Are you both committed? They've got to be committed first and then you to fix their business problem. That's all that matters. You have, my assumption is, a family around you. You have probably a close circle of friends that respect you, that hold you up, that lift you up. Lean on those people. Let those people be your guideposts. Don't worry about what somebody who barely knows you thinks about you. It doesn't matter, right? It's amazing, right? That we have let everybody else, most would say we're the most important person in our lives, right? We are. We're all very self-focused. And why in the hell do we let somebody else's opinion of us impact how we think about ourselves? It's complete bullshit. Somebody doesn't like you, so what? Somebody thinks you're a jackass, so what? Somebody said, I'll never buy from you, you suck, so what? Some will, some won't, so what? Who's next? Don't go out in the world to be an asshole. That won't help you. But you can protect yourself, not let anybody in. I had somebody describe this as a castle, right? You have your castle that protects you. You have your family inside of there and your very close friends who always have your back. And you're the only one that has the keys to the castle. What's important is, who do you let in? Who do you let in your vulnerable side? There are very few people in my castle. I keep it tight for a reason, right? Don't let other people decide who you are. You're the only one that gets to decide who you are, and you shouldn't give a shit what other people think, good or bad. If you know somebody that needs to hear this episode, and I know you do, share it with them. If you have not yet left a review for me, please do so. It would help me tremendously. I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. Need some help? Walker at walkermckay.com. Happy to talk to you.
Thanks for listening to No BS Sales School podcast. If you haven't already, please take 1 minute to write a quick review for the show. It really does make a huge difference. Also, subscribe to the show and please forward this episode to somebody else who needs to hear it. As a bonus for listening, I'm going to give you access to a free mini course, 7 expensive sales mistakes you're making and what you can do about it. Go to www.7salesmistakes.com and get access to the free mini course. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast.